start up right now. My name is Daniel Freeman, Director of Product Marketing at Atlassian. Here to do a quick introduction for the purposes of Jira Beyond Bug Tracking. Today, a bunch of you saw Mike's keynote about the Atlassian stimulus package. We call it Sprout internally because we knew if we can get the product in the hands of a lot of people, that the viral effect of using Jira and Confluence gets it spread out all throughout an organization fast, and we're end up being surprised at how the product gets used. We initially created Jira for guys like these, James Gosling, Linus Torvalds, and it's populated because people are looking for truth. People are looking for the one sort of truth, and the mindset around having that sort of truth in all your activities gets spread into a wide variety of usages. So we're going to find out three different sets of these usages today, from starting with Barney Bolt, Accordion, moving on to Christina Noren of Splunk, and then finally with Moda from Telephony Patterns. There. So without further ado, I wanted to get Barney straight away. Here you go. Yeah, that could work, or you
Okay, can everyone hear me? I normally don't need one of these things. So today I want to go ahead and talk about how we use the Jira tool for something other than just bug tracking. We actually use it as a support incident tracking system. My lovely assistant Rob from Customware is going to go ahead and make sure that I keep it honest and upright when we talk about the technical issues. Which one? How was that? Okay, so a little plug about Accordion. We optimize business rules and needs, the customer experience by improving the results, multi-channel management. We do intelligent dialogue, and we move people along through driven interactions. So just imagine intelligent workflow in an enterprise solution, and the support team maintains all the above, and that's part of my department. So we have about 145 customers, financial institutions, telcos, healthcare, Fortune 500, Fortune 100 companies. Like I said, all enterprise. The support engagement. So the tool is primarily the one medium which we talk to most of our customers. About 90% of all interaction comes through the support tool. We have a hotline, escalation process, and of course 24/7 across 5 geographic locations or 4 continents. And we work on issues like out-of-the-box code, which is rare. Nobody uses out-of-the-box. We allow our customers to extend our applications to go ahead and meet their business requirements. So that's why we do a lot of work in customized code. We help with implementations, business requirements, as well as do some regulatory updates for some of the financial packages that come out of Accordion software. So why am I here? Well, one of the reasons I was here is to go ahead and just to talk about how we made this a support tool. But I want to go ahead and take the first part from a business perspective. So in the history of Accordion, I went there in 1999. I was like number 47 pre-IPO. We've had probably almost, 4 or 5 different complete systems as a support tool. We've had Remedy, we had Clarify, we had Livetime. I can't remember the others, and I can tell you they were all a complete failure. Failure from performance, failure for customer satisfaction. No one liked the tools that we had, and nor did we. So we had to go ahead and come up with some business requirements to go ahead and sell this because, as you can imagine, the E-team was not so keen on going ahead and writing one more check for another tool, especially with something that hadn't been done before. So what were the driving factors? It had to be inexpensive. Right, so that was the one thing. So there was no way to get a lot of money for a Remedy solution and then have Remedy people come in. It just wasn't going to happen. Historical experience, cost was too high. The partner that we picked was the wrong one or left us wanting. The implementation was not as smooth as we hoped. The deployment was along the same lines. And most importantly, the customer feedback was never that stellar. So by all accounts, it was a abject failure. Some of the goals was to go ahead and, even though we're a support team, that we do mostly tier 3 work, we wanted to have no support costs whatsoever. We didn't really believe in spending that money in support, which is probably ironic, but true. We wanted to use our own staff. Right, so if anybody who's ever had a Remedy installation, right, the first thing you need to do is you need to shell off one of your FTEs and bring them in as a Remedy guy to go ahead and maintain your tool at a regular interval. So then you lose the ability to go ahead and service your customers because one of your better people is now facilitating your case tracking tool. We wanted something that was J2EE based that almost anybody in our team could go ahead and handle. And that's why we went the direction we did. Performance. The single largest complaint from every technical person. So if we put the database in New York, the people in India would complain. If we put it in, Amsterdam, the people in California would complain. So no matter where we put the database, it was just never in the right spot. The performance was always slow. You could hear the guys on the phone when you were talking to them, and they would click, and then they would try to put in the filler while the screen went ahead and repainted. Some more goals, value for money. So I'm a no-frills kind of guy, right to the point, is both a asset and a detractor. I wanted to make sure that we got exactly what we paid for, no more, no less. Customer success. So one of the things I can say is our team is an exceptional customer service department. I have guys who have been working with me for 10 years who truly have a passion of helping customers and making them successful. And this is a really fantastic thing until you go ahead and try to buy something else, because your expectations are much, much too high for those people to go ahead and actually produce something that you're going to be happy with. So fair play to Rob for stepping in front of that moving bullet. So some of the functional requirements that the team had come up with, there's about 120. Customer security. We had a different model for customer than most people had. The first question we had at every meeting that when somebody came in with a new tool was to go ahead and say, well, we could go back to the board and see if we can go ahead and create some customization for you. So it was already going to cost more than the original price tag. Fast and accurate searching. Of course, we want to go ahead and reuse some of the cases that we've done before. And an intuitive client UI so that the customers would go ahead and be able to just jump on and have no issues from the very beginning. So, so the first thing that we did well, and here is why Rob is up here, is we went ahead and hired Customware. I could let you know that I've never done one of these before. I've never been quoted before saying that the SI was just all that in a bag of chips. Never has happened. And I'm surprised I'm here now, but I'll have to give Customware credit. They absolutely knew what they were doing. They were easy to work with. There wasn't a lot of hand-holding. There wasn't a series of meetings. There wasn't, throw it over the fence and email and expect, to buy a few extra days until you came back with the real answer. It was curt and to the point. We need this, we can do that, here's a delivery date, we march forward. In general, the Customware team delivered before or more functionality than we actually had put into various drops. Did this with a 3-day gap analysis. I had a guy who's sitting in New Zealand, flew out to Rob's site in Australia, and they covered almost everything in 3 days, and we were off and running. Yeah. Customware had some off-the-shelf solutions for some of the things we needed for a solution for incident tracking, integration with Salesforce so that we could go ahead and see the support and maintenance when it was due. Believe it or not, even after 7 years of business, we were giving free support away to different customers because we didn't realize they hadn't paid their support and maintenance. Those two systems were held differently, and if anyone didn't go ahead and do a manual check, we were devaluing our service, if you will. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one piece, and then I have Rob here to go ahead if you want to handle, ask him any of the technical questions. But one of the things is that our hierarchy was just a little bit different. So let me get rid of this. So if you'll see, we have Harmony Group at the top, and then Harmony Bank and Harmony Cards. And someone could go ahead and have access to see the cases here and to see the cases here, but not necessarily everything that was associated with Harmony. Imagine your PS people going from site to site, your professional services. They could go ahead and see these particular instances here and cases and some over here, or you could give them access to everything. But we needed that granularity to go ahead and make sure that we were protecting our customers' data and being SOX compliant. And this is more about the product, and essentially one of the things we found every time we would try to go off-the-shelf solution, these are some bits that were never part of something that you could buy. You had to customize that right away. So whatever the price tag was, just figure X more to go ahead and get what you actually wanted. So Rob, do you want to go ahead and please?
It's recorded. Thank you, Barney.
Yeah.
Okay, so this system actually went live over 18 months ago.
Yeah.
And we had to brush up on this because we've actually done zero maintenance on it because we developed the whole project as plugins.
It's true.
So
we haven't had a down.
So I was going through this saying, what do we do here? And that's because Barney's team's been able to maintain it and continue the system. So we also did the data migration, but the most interesting things is always the screenshots and what the system does. And what you'll notice is that it kind of looks like Jira, but it kind of doesn't look like Jira. And what we actually built here was a standalone front end to Jira that spoke to Jira via web services. So the user interface here was a customized experience. We trimmed out a lot of the features or functionalities that we didn't need in Jira, added some things that we did need in terms of the user's profile and so forth, and allowed the user to really just get to what they needed to get to. The front-end portal connects via web services only to the back-end Jira system. There's actually two different Jira systems in Chordiant, one for engineering and one for the support management. At that stage, we also needed some extra pieces of the web services API, which we built as plugins as well. So where we needed extra functionality, we built extra web services as a plugin. So using those plugin points. So the portal itself then becomes customized per customer as they enter the system. So one of the major things you have if you're using Jira for support is that it looks like a bug tracking tool. Right? So if it looks like a bug tracking tool and you need it for support, that's one of the things you need to work on, and that was one of the major pieces. So straight away, the client sees their list of current issues, which is what you want in a support tool. You don't necessarily want to have to search and look for filters and set things up. You want to have all those configured for you. And also view issues for their associated customer, and including the security of what's there. So there are also some other, some of these screens look very familiar, but there's different fields in there, so you can pick which customer you're from, and then go through that complex hierarchy that we had set up in terms of which customers and which accounts can be viewed for which issues. Okay, so as we go through here, so every client has what we've got here is a saved tech stack. So particular client has a specific operating system or database or app server. Certain fields where the support engineers had to keep going in and typing in the same details over and over again. We're able to save those configs and bring them back. So a big thing that the Chordiant team did is that they really thought about the user experience. It wasn't a case of here's Jira, can you just configure it so that it kind of works for support. We actually went through it in detail to say, the biggest questions were, what don't we want the user to see? And then as the user is going through that, how many clicks less can we add for the user? Okay, so we can pick an environment, and then all of the settings are configured through there. And of course, if you've got all of those pre-configured each time, your reporting is going to be more accurate than if somebody types it in each time. Okay. And so all of those details are available to the client. We also allowed them to attach files, and at this point in time, that was one of the things that we had to build into the Web Services API, was doing remote file attachment. And then at the back end, the support team sees something that's a little bit more techy, a little bit more familiar to what you're able to see in Jira, which is the issues queued up in the appropriate queues. And so they're automatically assigned. On the user side of things, for an administration, you can then pick the role of a particular user and which client that they're associated with, and that helps with the security model. So again, those were built as administration plugin points as well, so that as they're upgrading Jira, they can just recompile those plugins. Andy's team, Andy's the tech lead, his team is able to maintain those and keep those happy. Okay. So, and then also linking which customers have which products. So, fair to say that Chordiant's support rules are very complex.
Yes.
And that was the biggest part, making sure that we had all of that nailed down properly, and then we're able to build the customizations aimed at delighting the customer. And then we obviously leveraged a lot of the built-in functionality of Jira in terms of security levels to make sure that the users had access to the appropriate issues and the wrong user didn't see, the wrong pieces. Okay, so I think that's
So I'll just try it without the mic if that's okay.
I'm looking for my presentation here. That's my question. Okay. Okay. Well, thanks, everybody. So I'm Christina Noren. I'm the VP Product Management of a company called Splunk. How many people in the room have heard of us? Okay, so I'll skip most of the commercial, but we've invented a category of product called IT Search, which is, like a lot of Atlassian products, used by a lot of techies, used by developers, is used by systems administrators. We have a lot of overlap, I think, in our customer base. We've had over 350,000 downloads, and we've done over 1,000 enterprise license transactions in just over 3 years. So it's been a very successful launch. A lot of the same challenges that I was hearing in how Atlassian does software development in terms of a lot of channels of customer feedback. And a lot of different use cases and markets. And so the challenge of doing product management when it's not just a very straightforward package solution for one specific use case is pretty immense. Our approach to software development, which I think drives the way what we think about in terms of the tools we use and so forth, is we're very much an organization of IT pros building software for other IT pros. We're very, very much associated with the end user in IT. We maintain a single code base for software that can run on a laptop, can be a forwarder agent on a server, that can index terabytes a day at major government agencies. We are pretty open in the way we do software development, and also in the way we think about our technology. So we have all the challenges of APIs and integration points and so forth. Very flexible, again, creating some challenges for product management, and very open in the way we communicate. So I think you get a sense of the kind of company we are. So for product management, I've been at Splunk since pretty close to the beginning. So I've been here for 4 years. So gone through the beta 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. But at the end of 2007, towards the end of 2007, our software development team wanted to move more formally away from traditional waterfall into agile development, like a lot of organizations. But Agile is not a product management methodology. It's a software engineering methodology. So that didn't answer the question of how I was going to do product management. Engineering had planned to extend the use of Jira from bugs to dealing with their Agile requirements backlog. So they had already made that decision. That was their decision to make. My question was, how do I automate the process of requirements tracking and requirements development in a way that maintained the kind of transparency that we wanted, but was scalable, which for me needed to be automated. And we looked at a lot of the PM-centric tools. I think we had a similar experience in our toolings as was just described on the support side. We looked at Rally software, and we looked at Feature Plan, and lots of things that are very specific to the job of product management, but they were very, very closed. So I would have this great requirement system that no engineer would ever log into, and I would have no credibility in terms of why I was saying this was the priority. So the goals of the project when we started to figure this out was we decided that we probably could use Jira for this. So my first reaction was that's a bug system. And then I started looking at it and talking to people in the Jira world, and I realized how customizable it was. And so I decided, okay, what I want to do is I want to adapt the pragmatic marketing, which is sort of Bible for product managers, the requirements that work model in terms of a data model of how you do requirements development, and I want to adapt that into Jira. And my goal was that I would have visibility, complete visibility from an engineering requirement, a granular requirement of, must implement this particular search command with this syntax, all the way back to what were the common customer problems and use cases that were driving that, and then all the way back to every enhancement request, every conversation, every support case, everything that fed into that. And I also wanted to automate communication status of feature development because we maintain high touch even with our free download users, and I would want someone to be able to get an email if 6 months after they have an enhancement idea, we do something about it and we start to prioritize or scope a feature. So I'd like them to come back and say, you got it all wrong. And my overarching goal was to reconcile the engineering and marketing sort of impedance mismatch. On the product marketing side, we want to talk about big game-changing features. In agile development, engineers want to work on tasks, on requirements and backlog that's very, very granular. So this is our data model. So each of these boxes has been implemented as a separate issue type in Jira. So I'll start to get into the mechanics of how. I didn't put it in the slides, but I'll also do my SI commercial. So we used Dave Pickering from New Aspects, who's sitting here. So what we did was we first went and developed all these custom issue types. Everything going on inside here is what's going on in Jira. So we have an enhancement request issue type. And that's a one-to-one relationship for every unique customer request for a particular issue. We have what we call market data points, which is my simplification of things like win-loss reports, analyst reports, different kinds of more market data that PMs are saying, okay, well, this is a reason to go do something in the product. And then call reports whenever an engineer or a product manager sits down and talks to the customer specifically about product. And these are all linked, and we'll talk about how we use custom issue link types. These are all linked to common problem statements, which is, for me, the heart of presenting a market problem to engineering. So if there's a general market problem, people don't have a really good way to do real-time alerting on TCP dump data, and we've talked to a bunch of customers about it. You know, the market data points are that there's a bunch of point solutions that are starting up. I'm going to tie that all into a problem statement that is describing this market problem or market opportunity around a problem that we can solve with product. Then we have features, and features are the granularity of marketing in terms of what our roadmap looks like. So I can actually just press print on the updated roadmap out of Jira. So a feature would be the marketing unit of delivery, and both problem statements and features get tied into requirements, and requirements and bugs collectively form the engineering backlog. So that's kind of how things flow around. Over on the left, and integration was really key for us, integration and automation. So we've integrated, initially we were using Sugar and we just moved to Salesforce, so we ported that integration over. But every time the support team triages, and we use, in Salesforce we do our support tracking, but every time they triage a support case as being a priority 4 or an enhancement request, that fires off an email into an inbox that a script is monitoring to go open or update enhancement request issues in Jira. And then other inputs are more informal, not system. So then we did a bunch of custom reports, and so these custom reports was a big part of what New Aspects built for us off of Jira. And these custom reports are kind of the automated version of the product requirements document and the automated version of the roadmap. So the reason we had to do these custom reports, and this is one of the things that I wish were a little different about Jira, but we've learned to work around it, is I get one document that prints out all of the problem statements that fit my search criteria, and those problem statements are arranged in a hierarchy, and within each problem statement I see the complete list of inputs. So if I look at that problem statement around there's a market problem, we're considering prioritizing the roadmap around real-time TCP dump data analysis, I can see on that one page, I can see the name and the description of the feature that engineering and PM are starting to scope out and say is going to solve that problem. I can see all the inputs, so I can see an expanded list of details of that it was customer A, customer B, customer C, and this is the dates on which they requested these. And I can see all of the requirements and the status of those requirements, so I can see where we are in delivery against that problem. And similarly on the roadmap, but the roadmap is centered on the feature issue type instead and is organized by dates, so I can look at that roadmap and I can say, okay, I can see which requirements are closed, which requirements are still open. So these are the key management tools and views onto the data that's in Jira. And one of the big things we had to overcome in using Jira is that just the Jira interface in terms of just the issue type model is not going to be exactly what product managers need. Product managers are going to, and in the conversation around prioritizing features, we need something that looks more traditionally like a document. So we also, it's a lot of work to commit all this data into a system. I mean, one of the things I think about doing product management this way is there's a lot of data entry. It starts to feel a whole lot more like doing support, but it's, in my opinion, the right way to do it because you're doing things based on facts and not on opinions. But we try to make it as easy as possible. So we built in Jira, New Aspects did for us, we built accelerators to do things like scoping an ER. So if I scope an ER, it's transitioning the state of the enhancement request into a scoped state. It clones the ER into a new problem statement, so I don't have to type everything all over, and I can just go edit from there. And it makes the right issue links and so forth. So that kind of thing. So we took, we took what would be 10 steps of work down to 1 step of work was really important. We did similar things for the workflows that we established around what's the life cycle of a problem statement, what's the life cycle of a feature. And then, again, to get the visibility, because I think a big part of making this project successful was socializing it and getting our field teams and our support teams and so forth to realize that this is work we were doing, they could trust the system. So when the last requirement for a given feature and problem statement closes that's above a certain priority, it automatically cascade closes the problem statement, cascade closes the ER, and notifies back to the support system. And we let support deal with the communication with the customer, but it does get attached into their case in the support system. So, I don't have to, maintain these, some static document. Jira is doing all this for me and is maintaining this level of communication. And with, with hundreds of thousands of, of users and 3 PMs, there's no way I could, there's no way I could get that kind of communication going without this automation. So, mistakes. We didn't realize that we would need the features to be a lot more complicated and have feature hierarchies for the level of surface area of our product. We've fixed that, but I still have to fix my feature roadmap to respect that. And it is frustrating that I have to pay someone to do Java development when I need to change the reports. We started with a view of the market problem going to requirements, and then packaging up the features after the fact. That really wasn't the right model of thinking. We were able to work around our implementations. Now we think of problem statement, feature, and then over time with engineering we develop all the requirements to deliver that feature. We probably should have done a separate issue type for personas and a separate issue type for use case rather than multiplexing that onto the problem statement. And I'll probably go back and fix that at some point, because it would be helpful to understand that these are the 15 features that we think goes to the in-house tools group, tools architect persona. And socialization has been an ongoing process. I can say now with confidence that my PMs are happy using the tool. My field teams believe we use the tool accurately, and they believe the data that comes out of there. My engineers have stopped complaining that that they don't understand why they're doing a particular feature. So it's working now, but it took a long time, and the problem is you're building it while you're using it, and so getting the data cleaning and accuracy. I mean, we had. I think we have like 30,000 historical enhancement requests to to somehow triage into this thing. So it's been a year and a half effort. Okay, last slide. Wish list. Since I've got you guys here. I really wish that I had a WYSIWYG way to define custom layouts for issue types. The fact that when I'm looking at an issue, I see my related issues and I can only see the first n characters of the subject. It would just be so much easier if I could have some flexibility so that I can see the account name field on the enhancement request that's linked to the problem statement. Grouping linked issues by issue type in the little issue links box. There's just some basic layout where I think the model of I'm just looking at one issue is probably the biggest thing that needs to change when you're trying to use Jira for more sophisticated data models. And I want to report Wizard, please, please, please. Last plug, we use Splunk on Jira data as well, and this is a screenshot of an app we built in our upcoming 4.0 release that we use to do all of our agile and bug tracking issue tracking using our own product. So if anyone's interested in that, Christina at Splunk will email me and I'll hook you up. Okay.
Fantastic. That was great. Hopefully. Hopefully with the Jira 4.0, we'll be able to fulfill those needs. Definitely JQL, I think, will be something to look for when we go through that beta. Next up. Okay. Next up, we've got Moda. All right. So you can just put that on your lapel. There you go, and put that on your belt.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Moda Kamametu. I'm a Senior Manager, Quality Assurance and IT Governance for California Casualty Management Company. We are an insurance company, mid-sized insurance company. We're based out of California with offices in Phoenix. We sell insurance to specific niche markets like teachers and firefighters. I looked at the topics that are being presented in the conference, and I really love to go to them, and thanks for you to choosing this presentation, and I hope you get benefited out of it. In the agenda, I have how we use Jira as a consolidation tool for our disparate reporting, for process improvements, and how Jira is helping us getting business answers. So, 2008, about the end of 2008 is when Jira has come into our company as a bug tracking software. Prior to Jira, we had a lot of point solutions. So we had tracks for time tracking, clientele for service desk, spreadsheets, anybody's guess, service requests, APT for problem tracking. I mean, there is nothing wrong with these tools. These tools have been working great for years in our company. But the only thing is, management was not able to make informed decisions very easily. We had to do a lot of correlation between the data from one product and another product and get the data out, correlate it, present to management. It was a lot of time-taking process. So then comes Jira, and all these products are gone now. So Jira has become the de facto tool for us. We do a lot of things on Jira. It's been a process of discovery. We started Jira as a bug tracking tool, but then now we use Jira for our service desk, our project management, purchase requisitions, time tracking, and the list goes on, but I'm told I should present only 3. So first of all, I'll talk about service requisition process. So basically, whenever we need a piece of hardware or we want to get something done, we had one application which provided this request process, and another application where people used to log their time for the work they have done, and another application to log issues, 3 things. But with Jira, what we are doing is we are using the POP facility with Jira. So all we do is have we have a Jira DCS email alias, which is a POP account, and Jira reads this email, and then whenever we create a request, it's email based, so you can be anywhere. You need not be in your VPN or do anything. So once you fill in and send the request, it gets created as a Jira issue, and all future communications, everything are captured within Jira itself. And and since this is a purchase requisition system, we attach like the quotes from Dell and so on and so forth. We have a workflow that is specifically tailored for purchase requisition system, and basically it goes through the purchasing department and through the provisioning department and finally gets through the life cycle. So it's one of very good uses of Jira in our company. And the second thing is time reporting. We wanted a tool where people can log their time against the tasks that are assigned to them, especially project managers who are finding it difficult to find out what their people are doing. And with Jira time tracking, the project manager creates issues, assigns it to his developers. They work on the task and they log work on the task. And this is the Jira time tracking plugin that we use. So at any point of time, the project manager or the person himself know exactly what they are working on, how much time they are spending, right? And that makes it a far more easier facility to manage the time for the developers, for the project manager. Then we use Jira for our service desk. Again, the idea is I had a couple of issues with Jira when I was very new to Jira, and I had to raise a support call with Jira. Boy, I love these Atlassian support guys. They are awesome, right? And the way they handle my request and the way it's totally very clear in terms of communication, in terms of status. I dealt with a couple of them, and I thought that this will be a very good tool for service desk. So I talked to Atlassian guys, and they pointed to me a demo implementation of service desk. I looked at it, and then I modeled our service desk based on Atlassian's Jira, and majorly we use the filtering mechanism, filters. Like if you see, we have all these filters which says all open service desk, all open service desk calls, and so on and so forth. There are quite a few of them. So we create these filters, we set in the timing and everything, and let's say an issue falls out of SLA, immediately we get notified. This is an email. We get notified about what issues are not meeting our service level agreements, which is way too good. And moreover, it's very easy. Okay, I sneaked in one more.
Okay. We'll let you off the hook this time.
We use Greenhopper plugin for our project management. Again, this is a very awesome tool. We started we started agile methodology in our product development, and Jira with Greenhopper, I believe, is an awesome combination for project management. And it's very easy to work with. We get the burn down charts, we get the snapshot of where we are at a particular point of time, and this really helps us in our day-to-day management of the project. So overall, again, we did all this, but what is management getting from it? Is management any better off with Jira and all this versus the point solutions that we had? Here is what we are now able to generate for our senior management. At one glance, we are now able to look at how much time is being spent in each of the categories of development, administration, production support, maintenance. Right? In the same way, we can look at which projects are taking up most of our time, which projects are not taking up the time that was originally planned for them, right? And for the service desk, we are now able to tell there are multiple calls this our service desk receives. So now we are able to tell which project, how many service desk calls we are getting per project. So either we need to train better, or so it's like we are now able to make informed decisions of where to spend our time, right? And by the way, all this is done by exporting Jira data to our BI tool, and we are able to generate these reports, right? Even we can drill down to a particular level and say that this is the time we spend in production support or administration, right? So basically, it's a great tool from a developer perspective, and it's a great tool from a management perspective. So overall, we are very happy, and the management is happy. So here I am presenting this to you. So what the conclusion is, Jira helped us, like I'm a Six Sigma process consultant. Basically, I look at different processes and optimize them, and I think with Jira, I'm able to better manage my process, streamline the process very well. And also, IT has now become like a glass box. Previously, it was a black box to management, but now we are like management knows what is exactly happening at any point of time in our company. And of course, Jira is very cost effective. Thank you.
Moda is one of those guys who gets the Jira personal license and uses it for his honey-do list at home. So with that, I know there's two questions that popped up for Barney. Let's start a Q&A session because we've got another almost 10 minutes to the remainder of this session. So I remember there's a question for Barney right at the, you want to start with that? Yeah.
Barney, you said you use two systems, one for your engineering staff and another for, I guess, your customer.
Right, your customer portal.
Did you sort of recently show both of those rather than using one to get
So we didn't want to, can you hear me? You okay? So we didn't want some of the IP to be exposed and ever there be an accident that some of the things that we were doing inside of R&D would be exposed to the customers. So it was a decision early on to make sure both systems were totally housed apart from each other, as well as we have very sensitive data in our system of record also. So that was the reason for the decision.
Can you do anything special to, like if something comes in from your outward-facing service to create an engineering task out of it? That's the issue we're having. We've got sort of the same exact copy going. So people are sort of cut and pasting from one into the other.
Yeah, there's remote linking capability for some of those problems can solve. The idea is that the development team, when a new plugin comes out, they want to install it, right? So hey, beta of new adapters or whatever plugins out, let's use it. And the support team is SLAs, contracts. So that was one of the other factors.
But to answer your question, we do have automation between those two tools, so we don't have to go ahead and cut and paste on it. We just can promote it into, and as well as we own support and sustaining and all tier 3. The existing application development is basically a maintenance mode. So all of that is we're able to promote within our own teams in the various. If it has to go to sustain, that's an engineering resource, even though they're part of our department. So we have to send it over there, and it's all automated. So it works out really well. Cuts down on a lot of the retending.
I got a question for Moda that you might find interesting. Like, how did you get all the data from all those other applications into Jira? How did that work? Was that, I mean, it just seems like such a monumental task to get everything in there.
Right. What we did is we announced like a cutoff date for using these old products, and then there were jelly scripts which we used to parse the data out and get it into Jira.
And organizationally, that was accepted because we work with a lot of software developers who don't like change. My gosh,
No.
How did you get people to adopt that?
Well, actually, first of all, there was a lot of resistance that we need to why we need to learn something new, but then once they saw it, there's not much to learn. It's just a very intuitive user interface. Just fill a form, click a button, you are done, right? So that really sold. Actually, the product sold by itself within the company. So, and then actually, it It came down from top to bottom because management is the one who's really convinced about using Jira, right? And the advantages it brings by consolidating all these applications together and have a central data where we can report out. So they liked it much. When they like it, it goes very easily.
Thank you, everybody, for attending this session, and please stay. So, yeah, thanks. Big round of applause for everybody. And if you have a chance to fill out the survey form, you know that URL. Does everybody know that URL? If you've got no, there's no open laptops, so I guess fill out the paper forms instead and bring them up here. Thank you, everybody.